Welcome back to Today's Health. In this segment, I'm speaking with Tim Nemecek, who is the Manager of Radiation Oncology Services at McLaren Port Huron. Tim, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Now let's start with, how does cancer care that is delivered at Karmanos in Port Huron distinguish us from other hospitals delivering cancer services?
Karmanos is one of the nation's best cancer centers, recognized nationally for excellence in quality in cancer treatments. We are one of 49 National Cancer Institute comprehensive cancer centers. With that designation, along with McLaren Healthcare, we provide the largest cancer research and provider network in the state of Michigan. Part of being NCI certified cancer center means there's a highly rigorous review as well as standards that need to be met, and Karmanos has met those standards every year since 1978. With physicians and scientific researchers, we're constantly looking for that future in cancer care, and currently are providing the cutting-edge, latest and greatest treatments available to the patients within Port Huron, along with clinical trials.
What are other advantages to choosing to have cancer services here in Port Huron?
One of the biggest advantages for the city of Port Huron is that we're able to offer these services to the folks of Port Huron that were not available until about a year ago. We've been around for about a year now, and a lot of the radiation therapy services that we provide, they would have to drive an hour to an hour and a half one way for 6 to 8 weeks. Patients are going to rely on family members to bring them to their treatments, and those family members wouldn't have to drive as far. We have a wide variety of services that Dr. Johnson mentioned, such as dietary needs for a dietitian. We have a social worker, financial counseling, and a nurse navigator. The nurse navigator is actually able to help these patients while they go through their treatments from any questions they might have, working with the local physicians to coordinate care, services within the cancer center while they go through their treatments, and pretty much answer any questions that the patients might have. The social worker is able to kind of pick up where the nurse navigator leaves off by meeting some of the psychosocial and emotional needs, as well as financial needs as well. A lot of times these patients have trouble with transportation. I mentioned having to drive an hour and a half for treatment one way is difficult. It's still difficult for the patients' families that work. A social worker can step in there and help provide transportation for some of these patients. I mentioned financial counseling. Dr. Johnson mentioned that as well. A lot of these patients are worried about the bills that they might receive. Before they receive their first treatment, they'll sit down with a financial counselor and she will explain everything from A to Z that they might see in a bill.
Wow, to have all of these services available right in our community is such a benefit to our patients and their families.
It's nice to be able to provide those services that were not here a year ago, and now the city of Port Huron can have those.
Can you tell us a little bit about the clinical trials that Karmanos is involved in?
Karmanos is involved in a wide variety of clinical trials with the National Cancer Institute designation. There have vast resources to provide these clinical trials. Again, as I mentioned, a lot of these patients that had these clinical trials offered to them would have to drive to Detroit to receive these treatments. Now that we're part of Karmanos, we're able to provide those treatments here in Port Huron.
Wow, Tim, this has been great information. How would any of our viewers get more information on Karmanos Cancer Institute?
There will be a phone number and website at the bottom of the screen, and I would call the phone number and website to reach out for any questions or concerns that they might have.
Tim, thank you for joining us today.
It was a pleasure to be able to share this information.
Stay with us. We'll be back after this message.